Okay, so the underlying energy, nice. The Four of Wands, I mean, that is judgment. So what was thought was gone, or well, not possible, definitely showed back to be possible, and a call to action was, definitely, called. And now this is about the progress of the relationship, getting to a place of, of a higher sense of commitment and stability, establishing some sort of foundation. Nice. Now, the mentality of the relationship here with person number one here, or you guys, how I like to see it, is there's definitely some sort of transition or some sort of moving from one place to another, some definite letting go and some moving on, because this is talking about leaving some things behind and moving on to a place where there's more potential, new opportunities, things to come in. But it's usually the card is seen as very sad. Why? Because this person is leaving behind something they know, something they're familiar with. But this is also giving them something new. Despite the sadness, this is bringing them closer and closer to new potential, to new beginnings, to new opportunities, to new life. And I feel like the mentality with this relationship is that they're getting over this person, or you guys are getting over a lot of stuff that you guys have to really unlearn from past relationships. Now this person here has the Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Cups, concerning in a very kind of a big way, because the Eight of Cups can indicate here that this person feels already or is thinking about how dissatisfying this relationship is actually. But this doesn't necessarily have to be the case. For some people, this could indicate that there's some sort of dissatisfaction, and there is some sort of desire to go off and find whatever it is that truly makes this person happy. Now, I don't think this person is going to look to cheat, and I definitely don't think that this relationship is exactly the thing that makes them unhappy. But I feel like they are coming into this relationship and using this relationship as a way to find what truly makes them happy, versus them not feeling satisfied. But again, everybody's entitled to the way that they feel, and either way still applies. Okay. Now, that being said, the body is coming up as, how you guys are being representing each other, or, how are you represented to each other, rather, is the moon. Now, the moon is very secretive and not very straightforward. This is not really clear what's going on with this individual, what they're presenting. They're actually very confusing in some different regards. And that's the thing. Like, I think this person, like I said before in the very beginning, is that they're, the mentality going in this relationship is dissatisfaction. Therefore, they're looking to find what truly makes them happy. And therefore, because they don't know what makes them happy, they're coming off as very confusing. They're not very clear what's going on. They're not very, it could be also be facing fears. But the thing is that they're, how they represent to you. Could be that somebody is just ultimately very confusing to be around, very confusing. They're confused themselves even. They're not really sure about where they're going. They're just kind of trusting faith, allowing intuition to guide them, which is not a bad thing. But the thing is the moon is coming up. It can be kind of to cloak the things that are in the dark. That maybe, I don't think this person is doing anything in the dark, but their actions, how they represent themselves, even if they're just trying to kind of feeling things out, when they're actually not doing anything bad at all, guys, which please listen to me. They may not actually do anything wrong. They're not doing anything bad. They're just trying to feel things through, because they're probably just like you have gotten from a very bad relationship, and they're using this relationship as a way to figure out and to figure out what it is that makes them happy. And they may be confusing and uncertain and all this, because they're still trying to figure it out. They're listening to their heart right now. Not that they're actually doing something conniving or manipulative or underhanded, like the moon can also indicate too. Right? But at the same time, though, this can give this person this kind of feeling of being very suspicious, or, sneaky, or kind of like underhanded. Right? Even though this is not the Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, or anything like that, you got no other cards in here that indicate sneaky or untrustworthy behavior. Right? But I do feel like this is why you guys, or this other person, has got this defensive energy up. They're protective. Now, if this person is confusing and they seem very suspicious, this is understandable why this person is having their guard up like this. But you have to keep in mind, without real facts or information, you can't just, assume that this person is doing anything malicious or bad. They may be just confused out of their own mind and trying to figure out what makes them happy. And they have to kind of trust their heart and go through these things. And then, two, this person may be keeping a lot of things private. They may not be open about talking about things, and that's why they may be kind of, they may be sneaky or seem very suspicious, because the thing is, they have to be open to communicating how they feel, and what they're going through is probably very intense, and they don't necessarily know if they can trust you at the same time. So that's a lot of things too. So if there's a trust issue, it's both ways. It's not just one person. Now, let your friends help you. Both applies. Because I feel like this person, if this is you guys, you're on the defense, you're like, why the hell this person acting this way? And this person here is like, why this person being super defensive? Are they cheating? Are they doing something? What's going on, right? This is going to cause a hell of a lot of problems and get everybody's fucking arms and hands and feet all kinds of tingly and ready to kind of do some things that they probably shouldn't. But either way, it's like, this is building up anxiety, both parties. So, gotta be careful. And that's why it's so important to see things at face value and communicate and have healthy communication. Because right now, everybody's kind of confused. And it's not this person's fault necessarily, but because everybody's allowed to be confused, everybody's allowed to kind of go through this rebirthing process of their own, right? Because this judgment card does come up. There was a rebirth here. There's some sort of, everybody has gone through something. You're not the only person that's gone through something, and they're not the only person that's gone through something. But there has to be a mutual understanding of where each person's coming from. And I think that's where let your friends help you come in, because both parties are kind of going through their own thing on their own, not talking about it with anybody. And maybe you are more transparent than this individual, but this person is just as transparent, because they're just as much just confused about themselves as they are about the relationship altogether, where their heart is, where their mind is, and all that. But they're trying to discover that. Now, considering that you guys are on defense, or this is the other person on defense, because you're trying to figure stuff out, you're not 100% sure, you're coming from a place of honesty. You're coming from a place of truth. Now, the Page of Swords can indicate there's some stalking or some gathering of information, some sneaky underhanded stuff, which is probably why this person feels mostly confused and acts suspicious, because they're just as suspicious as you are getting coming from them. But the root of the cause, or the root of the reason why you guys are, either this is defensive and trying to move on and trying to get to a better place, but you guys are on defense, is because you guys want, you want to start from a place of honesty, or maybe this is coming from a place of blunt truth. Like, you want to get to some sort of clarity. You want to be brutally honest with yourself as you are with this individual. And I feel like the situation is this with the Page of Swords, that there is some sort of clarity that's needed, or this clarity that you guys are trying to have from from where you guys are, right? You're trying to gain some sort of clarity within yourself as much as you are trying to gain some clarity about where you guys are trying to take this relationship. Because right now, there's no real destination other than to get to a place of stability. Right now, you guys are trying to get some bearings in. Sorry, I just keep the camera. But you guys are trying to gain some sort of, stability within yourselves, let alone the relationship. So, and this is, like I said, you guys are rebirthing a new you. And even though you guys have taken a new action, look at that, 7 of Swords. Gee whiz. Lovers. Okay, the 2 of Cups, rather. Wow. We're just going to get deeper in it. 5 of Wands. See, 7 of Swords is, like I said, it's sneaky. It can be lying, can be denial, but it also can indicate taking a risk. And I feel like that's the thing. But anyway, taking a leap of faith, taking a risk. But the situation is this: you guys are both individually new people, taking a new opportunity, or taking up an opportunity at all once, when a situation seemed to be open to doing so. You guys have to accommodate the new you. You gotta discover and relearn the new you. Both of you guys are doing that in your own ways. That's one person is emotionally doing this one. You may be in a more mental area when it comes to trying to move on from things. Either way, you guys are both developing a new individual person. So there is going to be some differences in how both parties are being perceived, especially when this person is more emotional and you're heading in a more logical approach. And considering they're hitting with major arcanas and you got minor, this is definitely a different dynamic, but the same at the same time. It's very weird and very difficult to understand. I'm sure how I'm explaining it probably is a little confusing. I do apologize for that, but the situation is this. You guys are going through very similar stuff, and you guys getting suspicious about each other is just going to make this whole relationship very difficult for the both of you. But that may be the reason why you guys are both coming up together, is because there is some sort of need to trust each other, trust yourself, more importantly. Like I was saying before, right? You want to come from, like, your root is the Page of Swords. Truth, honesty, blunt communication, right? So where you're stemming from, right, could indicate that here's that, you know, the reason why you're acting like this is because you came from a very open place. You're already open, you're already honest. This person over here already knows your story, right? But you're also cultivating a new truth. You're also reinventing yourself, reinventing your belief systems, what you're standing for. Because obviously, like the Page of Swords is a child. They're cultivating their own truth too. That's why it's so hard to hear what they have to say sometimes, because they don't mean to be mean, but they're just trying to kind of get a sense of self, again, you know, develop their own intellect, their own belief system, their own truth. And that's what you guys are doing here. You're creating your own truth here. You're starting from the very beginning. You're reinventing yourself as much as, and you are 100% allowed to. But the same as the other person, their foundation is the Fool, taking a leap of faith, going in and trusting their intuition, as well as using the sun as the guidance system in itself, right? Their logic, what they can see, is taking things at face value. They're having to trust their intuition, trust themselves, take a leap of faith, you know? And this is a big step in itself, especially if this moon energy here with the Fool, this is definitely big leap of faith territory, because if they're facing their fears right now and they're still being brave, that's a big thing for this individual. Now, to be seen as someone suspicious, that's hurtful. It can be hurtful, right? Think about that. It can be hurtful, but at the same time, you are just as allowed to see them as suspicious if they're acting that way. But that's why it's so important to communicate, to get to the bottom of things, to have, you know, conversations regarding what's going on, right? Knowing where everybody's head's at. Because if you guys are going in a direction where you guys are trying to, you know, heal and, you know, develop a new you, and, you know, you guys are going in different directions and they're looking a little funny, everybody's going to get anxious. So, what brought you guys together is this Knight of Pentacles. I feel like not necessarily committing 100%, but then at the same time, still trying to make progress. Slow, real progress towards something that can be stable. Now, the Knight of Pentacles, when he does commit, he's solid, and he's you got no worries with him. But the situation, the reason why you guys came back together, actually, right, instead of what I just said earlier, it's actually cautiousness, being careful, it's a safe choice. It's safe. It's because you know, right? You kind of got an idea of what's going on. But most importantly, you're allowed to go slow. You're allowed to take your time, and is being very cautious, right? And I feel like it's actually encouraging you guys to take a leap of faith in the direction of commitment, where you may have been, you know, hurt before regarding commitments. No, you may be, you know, familiar with each other. You may be in a relationship with each other before, have been in a relationship with each other before. You guys could be brand new. But the whole situation is that you guys both provide each other with some sort of stability. And that stability is then in itself building progress to building something solid, stable, and eventually can potentially get to the Four of Wands. But your challenge right now is the anxiety, the stress, and the worry, the doubts, and the lack of trust within yourself and each other. And that is the thing. The Knight of Pentacles will procrastinate, take his slow the last time, because he's nervous. He's a nervous thing. Now, the thing is, like, the Knight of Pentacles, he will never look it, right? Because he's trying to look at the details, really hardcore looking at things and trying to get the best sort of information he can get with what he's got. But the fact of the matter is that there's a bit of faith that he needs in order to go along with stuff, or he's going to be stuck looking at details for the rest of his entire life. So in order for things to move forward, there has to be a willingness to take a risk, to allow things to just be, in the sense of, trusting your intuition and going with that. Because in order for things to be stable, you have to have faith that there can be stability, even in aspects and areas where you can't see that stability at all at the moment. But again, like I'm saying, the stress that you guys are experiencing right now is not helping any of you guys, but it is helping, if you believe it or not. Because the stress is allowing you guys to trust yourselves, and then that sort of trust in yourself will be able to help you guys build a better foundation with each other, potentially. Okay? Potentially, though, okay? Because the way this kind of relationship can end up, it can get a little dirty, it can get a little nasty, and it, depending on the people that you're with, depending on whoever you're dealing with. But it can also be strengthened, because with the right conversations and really seeing things at face value, instead of letting your mind letting each other's minds run rampant and think about all kinds of terrible things that either one of you guys could be doing behind closed doors. That's what's really going to build this relationship. Being honest and seeing what's real. And the Knight of Pentacles is looking at what is real. Pentacles is real. And if you can see what's really going on, I feel like you guys would be more and more comfortable and feel less anxious and feel like you don't have to have your guard up all the time. You know what I mean? But it's going to require you to look at what's real, not what isn't. And your mind can play tricks on you. And trusting your mind to protect you is just as dangerous as letting somebody that you don't know into your house and do whatever it wants to do. But it is good, because your mind will come up with situations and scenarios, and it's good for helping find solutions to things, right? Solution-based stuff. But with your mind acting like this, it's dangerous. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on here. Both of you guys are in a way helping each other indirectly, even when it feels like it's not. But I feel like you guys are both coming from very similar backgrounds, but both similar places. And it's just very hard to see that way because of everything that you've gone through. That sort of understanding of what you guys are doing, what you guys are coming from, that's what's going to get you guys closer together. But you guys have to see what's actually happening and be real with one another, rather than letting your mind come up with scenarios and situations that may not exist. Because the moon indicates illusion, y'all. It doesn't mean that the illusion that you're seeing is real. If you see a shadow if you see a gigantic tarantula, it could be a shadow. It may not actually be a real gigantic spider. It may be big, but it may still be like this small. But that shadow is huge, makes it huge. But hey. So let's go ahead and see what's going on with your whispers of love. Have faith. Look at that, man. Trust your faith in this situation. Having faith is a very big part. Trust, like I was saying. Trust is big. Faith is knowing. You have to know that you have, somebody here that's willing to work with you. Both of you guys, like I said before, are coming from a place very similar in backgrounds. Different ways of approaching it. Different areas in which is effective. But you guys are headed in both. You guys are both reinventing and growing as a person. So yeah, learning each other, getting to know each other, looking at the details, and getting to know each other. That's more important than assuming what you guys are doing activity-wise on its own. Whatever darkness is this person may be having will come to light. If this is real darkness that they're trying to hide, that they're doing to you, that's definitely showing that they're not stable, or they're showing that they're unloyal. And this is just darkness in which the things that they've gone through, the pains, the hurts, the things that they've been, that's been done to them. This is the darkness that will be shared too, but when they are ready to do so. But you have to have faith that this will happen. And you have to also have faith that this person is not trying to do something terrible to you. And you have to have faith that this person isn't defensive because they're doing something malicious either. Both of these individuals are going through something, but you have to allow time in communication to determine where each of those lead. But most importantly, believe in yourself that you are making the right decisions for yourself in every moment. But also listen to your intuition, because that is the biggest thing. Listen to your intuition. Don't listen to your mind scaring the crap out of you. Listen to what your heart is saying. If you feel like you are in the right moment and in the right area, good. But if your mind is so loud that you can't hear your intuition, confront the issues head on. And yes, be open to communicating, because everybody wants to just feel safe and secure.